Hi, my name is Seth Lesson. You are welcome to JAM Solution. This is the where you can learn why NECO, GC, and importantly JAM. And in this today, we want to be driving to introduction to chemistry. Please, if you are new in this app, please follow the guideline that you are able to understand everything it is. And you can press the button under the word the chemistry below. Now, let us you can press it. Press here is down chemistry. Now go to the next one, which is chemistry one. Go to chemistry one. Now today we are looking here. This is the topic we are looking here, and to make it easy for us, I'm talking about this topic. We're looking at this topic, introduction to chemistry. That's what we are looking in your app. When you get here, you should click it and let us begin. Look at this arrow. Now you can play it and play the button. I'm talking about this arrow, this one. Make sure you when you press it, it's easy to have access to it that you can be able to start with us and reading it for you. Now, today we are looking very important topic today. That's introduction to chemistry. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is that you know yourself you are a science. And what is science? That's the question that we need to answer ourselves. What is what? What do we mean by this? Chemistry as a science? No, you can see that when you talk about chemistry as a science, it's very, very simple. It's not a thing as if you are learning, you belong to science. There are some subjects that you are doing, like chemistry, physics, biology, economics, um, even you know your subject by yourself. All these one are the what? Knowledge. You gather the knowledge of science, and all this you do experimentations. That's what we mean by what? By science. A science is not only one person. When you gather different knowledge together and you grow on it, there is science already. That's why science is an organized body. You can see it from radio as a organized body of a knowledge gathered through systematic experimentation and philosophical observation. We use experiment in laboratory to confirm whether what we are doing is really is really we are whether it is important or not important, or whether the what we are trying to prove whether it is true or not. And here now by philosophical observation, look at observe by using our five senses to observe by what are the five senses like mouth, like nose, like ear, like the five senses that we are talking about. That's to detect whether what experiment that we are doing, whether it is true. That's what we mean by science. So run all these courses, you are a science student. Now, the question that we need to ask ourselves is what is chemistry by himself? I'm talking about this one because I'm talking about the definition here, talking about the definition here, the definition of the chemistry by himself. What is chemistry? Is this one. Now, chemistry can be defined as a branch of science which deals with the study of composition, properties, and the properties and the uses of matter. Now, and changes structure, composition which matter undergo. All this is very important. Number one that you need to know is number one, I want you to look at this because it's very, very important. This one, this number one is composition. Number two, we talk about this one is what? Properties. And number three is this one uses. This one uses. And make sure that that's what we are looking at. What do we mean by what? Composition, this composition. What do we mean by this composition? Now, we'll be looking at it one after the other. let's go down and let's understand it one after the other. Now, you can see it trying to tell us. Now, I want to explain composition, properties, and the uses of matters. Now, what is composition? That's the question that I'm trying to ask us before that. What do we mean by this composition? What do we mean by composition? Now, compositions is in chemistry refers to a type of amount of elements or compound that make up of substance. Now, in chemistry, we deal with elements, compound. Now, in this element and compound, they are the one that combine together that produce another thing. They are the one that combine together. When you combine hydrogen, two hydrogen with oxygen, it give us water. The composition of water is two hydrogen and one oxygen. Are you getting me now? Like like when you see this one, look at this water. Look at this water. We have hydrogen what? Two and oxygen two. When you combine both of them together, is the one that give us what? Is the one that give us water. Now, if somebody asks you what is the composition of water, you can easily to tell that it's H H2 and O, which is hydrogen plus oxygen. Hydrogen represent H, oxygen represent O. Now, example, another compound is salt. You can see it here. The salt is here. Can you see it now? The salt is HNaCl. That's salt. The combination of sodium plus chlorine, when they combine it together, they give us what? They give us salt. Are you hearing now? The composition of salt and what forms salt is sodium and chlorine. That's they call it chloride. Are you getting me now? That's the composition. Now, in chemistry, it expose every matter around us. What form them? What what produce them outside? Chemistry explain it. That's the composition that form all those matters. Now let's all go to the I've told us that I want to explain the composition. Explain it. What is the composition? Composition is what form matters. The element that combine together, the compound that combine together na form matter. Like what form water? H2O, hydrogen and oxygen is the one that form water. What form salt? Sodium and chlorine is the one that combine together form salt. Are you hearing me? And so on and so forth. Have you ever think about what form plastic? What form sand? What form anything you can take around us that is a matter? What form them? Chemistry will expose everything for us that we can able to understand perfectly. Do you understand now? Let's move to the next one. Now we're moving to the next one, which is what? Moving to this. This is properties of matter. The question that we need to ask ourselves is that what is properties of matter? We are when we are talking about properties of matter, you can see all this. You can see all this down. These are the property like now color, density, boiling, solubility, conductivity, hardness. All these are the what? The properties of matters. Now, what do we mean by that? Let us explain one after the other. Let us explain this. I want you to be following me. That's why I'm explaining it that you understand. There are characteristics that can be observed without changes of substance composition. Now, matter, how can we know matter? Matter can form. Matter can be exist in three forms: solid, liquid and gas. You can see it, call it state of matter. The state of matter, matter can be three things: liquid, solid, gas, or solid and gas. Now, how can we know matter? That this one is a matter. Matter have this thing. Number one, matter have color. Look at the thing around you. Most of we have different color. Now, the appearance of the substance, how something look like, how matter look like. Some of the matter will be black, some of the matter will be red, some of the matter will be blue. We have different colors of matter. Now, how do we calculate matter? Another one, density. Matter can have, I'm talking about this now. I'm talking about this now. Density, mass per unit. Now, density, a matter can have density because when we talk about density, like the density of a lead, the density of a aluminium, and even, are you getting me now? All these, every matter has their its own density. The same thing, boiling. The way the higher the rate of where water can boil is different from the rate where the the another thing can boil, like what? Petrol. The petrol have its own boiling point, the kerosene have its own boiling point, and the water have its own boiling point. The same thing with density. The density of the matter, how well the substance dissolve water. There are some density what? Solubility, because some of the elements, they don't dissolve the same thing in water. Now, some of them will be too difficult to dissolve. Some of them will be easy to dissolve. Are you hearing now? Like they call it solubilities. Now, how well the substance dissolve in water or another solvent. Now, what do we mean by solvent? Solvent is the thing that normally dissolve something. Like example, now water and salt. What is solvent between them? Water is a solvent. Solvent is something that dissolves something. Now, solute is something that the solvent dissolve, like water is a solvent, and what water dissolve is salt. Now, salt is a solute. A solute can now represent the 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 sand. You get it now. Insoluble represent the sand. What cannot dissolve as insoluble. Notice that is very, very important. Keep it in your mind. Now, we have boiling point and what? And melting point, the temperature. Every matter has their own rate of boiling point. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. The boiling point of petrol is different from the boiling point of kerosene. It's different from the boiling point of gas. Are you hearing now? Everything has their own rate of boiling point. The boiling point of spirit is different from the boiling point of what? Of water. All these things have their own what? That's the properties of what? Of matter. Now, the same thing, because we have physical properties and we have chemical properties. I'm just giving you the what? Physical property. Now, conductivities. The way they conduct together, they are different entirely. The conductivity, the ability to conduct electricity. Now, some of this, how can we understand matter? How to conduct electricity? That's how the way we can understand matter. The hardness, how the way it is hard, the way it is what? When you touch it like this, and how whether it is soft or whether that is hard. Are you getting now? Whether this one is soft, this one is hard. You are able to understand it. Now, let us look at the chemical properties, because we have chemical properties now of matters. Now, these are the what I'm talking about. Talking about this, all this, all this one. This is the what? Chemical property. Number one, we have flammability, we have reactivity, we have density, density and basicity. We have the composition. These are the what? Are the chemical properties. Now, flammability, ability to burn a oxygen. We won't burn to form ashes and gas. Now, matter normally what? Change. But we have chemical change. When we talk about chemical change are not reversible. When it is born like this, you cannot reverse it. Like like what? Like when you burn a materials, or you burn a leaf, the leaf that you burn, you cannot recover it back again. Now, another one, reactivities. How easily substance react, acid base, oxygen and other chemical. How the way they react, they combine together like acid and base. All these things. Now, acid and basicity. The measuring of pH acid like vinegar have low pH basicity like soap have higher pH. The soap have higher pH. When you get to that topic, you'll be able to understand it. The last one is what? When you get the last one, talking about the last one of the day is what? The last one is decomposition. The last one is what? Composition. Breaking down of substance into simpler substance over the time. This is what? The composition. What do we mean by all these things that we are talking about? We are still talking about the what? The properties, because every matter have its own properties. We have physical properties and we have what? Chemical properties. Now, what do we mean by the uses? What do we mean by the uses? Now, uses, matter can be used in a different ways. We can use matter in a different ways. Let us look at it one after the other. We are talking about the uses of water. This one. Now, the uses of matter one after the other. Let us look at the uses of what? This one, the uses of matter. Now, matter essentially human life and industry. Different materials are used based on properties. Now, what can we use matter? Let's all look at it. Now, we have iron, we have matter. I've told us we have matter. Now, all these things, let us look at it on after the other. Now, matter, iron, copper, aluminum, gold. Now, construction. What the uses of all these things? What can you use iron to do? What can you use copper to do? What can you use aluminum to do? And gold. All these are the uses of matter. Now, iron is a matter, copper is a matter, aluminum is what? Is a matter. And what? And gold, the same thing, is a matter. Now, what can we use it? Number one, we can use to construct road. We can use to do electric wiring like copper. We can use jewelry of coins like gold. We can use gold for what? For jewelry. We can use copper to construct electricity. We can use iron to make a steel rod or to build our house, lay the foundation and etc. Now, what are the even compound they call? I'm talking about the compound. Now, this we can use this one. Water. Water can we use water to do. We can use water to drink and cooking. We can use water. We can use water to drink and cook. Agriculture, industrial uses. Now, cooking in plant and chemical reaction. All these things we can use water to drink and cooking. Now, agriculture, industrial uses. These are now that's what we can use water to do, and water is still a matter because we are talking about the uses of matter. Now, the next one, the last. Now, what about the gases? What about the gases? Like when we look at these gases one after the other, like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, what can they use it for? Now that the uses, it's still the same thing as matter. We can use oxygen We can use oxygen used for hospital for breathing to support. We can use nitrogen used for fertilizer or help plant growth. We can use carbon dioxide used for salt and drain and photosynthesis. That's how the way they can use all these things. All these wey I'm still mention is uses of what? Matter. All of them are still matter. Plast and polymer. Now, what can we use this on? Packaging, clothing, medical uses. All these things they are using it for packaging, clothing, medical uses. Now, the next one is acid and base. What do we need the acid and base? Now, the acid and base. Now, now these are the now let's all look at the acid and base. Now, acid, well, we know that we can use acid to do is a what for acid, acid. Now, acetic acid for cooking, sulfuric acid in car battery. With all this one, we are using it for that's the uses of matter because acid is a matter, base the same thing is a matter, baking soda and cooking and cleaning. You can use base to clean or baking soda. All these one are still the same thing as what? Matter. Ceramic and glass. Ceramic and what? Glass. What are they using it for? For brick and tiles. You can use it for tiles, glass for windows and lenses. That's what all these one are the what? Are the form of they are using it for matter. Notice that. Keep all of them in your mind. Now we have about like six of them. Now that now metals, waters, gas, plastic and polymer, acidic base. All these things are matter. What are we explaining here is that we are explaining that the uses of matter is all these things. What are they using matter to do? Are you hearing now? That's what we are explaining here. You must understand it. Now, let's move to the next one. Now, we are moving to the next one. The next one is this. That's branch of chemistry. Branch of chemistry. What do we mean by this branch of chemistry? Chemistry are divided into three. Number one, you can see it. You can see it. We have number one is what? I'm talking about this. Number one, we have the one on top is physical chemistry. This one we have organic, this one organic chemistry, and we have the last one inorganic chemistry. Now, this chemistry, now what are they using it for? Now, deal with a physical aspect of chemistry like quantum theorem, heat and electricity. That's what this one is dealing with. The quantum, don't worry, when we get to the topic we know quantum theorem, we're able to understand heat and electricity. Now, organic chemistry is dealing with the study of carbon. This one deal study of carbon only, and the last one deal with the study of element properties and their uses. Notice that different. Now, we can even say organic chemistry deal with something that has life. In physical chemistry deal with elements. Is deal with what? Is physical chemistry deal with physical aspect of chemistry, quantum theory and all. Now, organic chemistry, I want you to take note of this one. Organic chemistry deal with thing that has life. Inorganic chemistry deal with the thing that does not have life. Element does not have life, or the element does not have life. Notice that. Now we are moving to the next one, which is this. This topic is specific method of discovery. Specific method of discovery. How did they discover? How science normally discover? When you see a science, I'm a science, I'm a science. Now, how do we the science discover things? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. How science discover? We have about seven. You can see it below, about seven. All these, all these seven. Now, that's what I've already shown you. Now, all the seven. Now we have number one. Can you call it for me? Observation, pattern, problem, hypothesis, experimentation, theory, and law. This is the method that science they normally use to do their experiment if it is true or not. Example, let us assume that a water, let me use a marker. When you have a marker, can I see marker? Yes, of course. Now look at this marker. This is a marker. And this marker by yourself. Now, this marker, I want to produce this marker as a science student, and I want to produce this marker. The question that I need to ask myself, how can I produce this marker? Now, the first thing I will use my senses to look at it. Use my eyes, use my nose, use my ear, whether it is sounding or any. I will use my, now, I place it in my nose. Now, I discover that the marker is smelling. Smelling. It's smelling like a chemical. Which chemical? Like a spirit. Spirit. That's what I guess in my head. Like this spirit. No, I've never know whether it is true, whether it is not true. Now, the first thing that I did now is what? I observe. I observe it. Now, the next one is what? Pattern. And I've discovered that which pattern of this? Okay, the pattern of is it's not a liquid, and it's not a solid, it's not a gas, it's a liquid. That's where did it belong to? And it's a liquid. It belongs to waters, anything like solvents. Okay. Now, that's the pattern. Identify occurring behaviors of the trend. Now, to identify recurring behaviors, how can we occur? I can identify the next one, the problem. The problem is I want to do it, I want to figure it out. The recognizing of defining the issues to be studied. Okay, the next one is hypothesis. I will use another one that you can able to understand. Hypothesis is what I think in my head. Okay, what I think in my head, I think they have a spirit, they have a charcoal, whether they powder the charcoal, they grind the charcoal, you now be a powder, you now put it inside the spirit. And as a science student, I need to take to the experiment whether the thing I'm taking is right or wrong. I will not take it to the laboratory conducting an experiment. I will know the meaning of experiment. When they conduct the experiment, I will test it. I need to find some of the materials, that's the apparatus that can be able to use to figure out how the way I can do this one. Now, if I figure it out, I use the apparatus and the method. I combine all of them together and I make it. Now, the what you construct can be positive or negative. What do you mean by that? What you think about and go and the thing that you go and do in the laboratory can be positive or negative sometimes. If we get the positive, we will turn to theory and after that turn to law. But if you get negative, we will go back to the observation or hypothesis, what to think about. What did I mean is that when in chemistry we conduct experiment, this experiment we use method. Number one, we use observation, we use pattern, we use problem, we use hypothesis, we use experimentation, we use theory and the law. That's how the way we can use to check this one whether it is what it is right. When I observe it, after that I look at the pattern. Now I look at the problem. Now I will now look at the hypothesis, what I think in my head that can be the solution of this one, spirit and charcoal. Now I conduct the experiment. When I conduct the experiment, Now, if I now discover that if I mix the spirit and charcoal together, and if it's form, and if it is form, and if it can write, it means that my experiment is good. But if it cannot write, it means that I need to go back to observation or pattern. It means that my experiment it's not okay. But if it is okay and I get it right, I will turn it to law. But law mean I will turn it to theory. Theory means that I write it down. Other people can see, they can even construct what I did, whether it is true or not. And if they now discover that it is true, that you can mix charcoal with spirit, they can now turn it to law. Notice that now. Now, I've never forgot it. I'm just using it as example. Notice that. That's how the word, the how the science normally do. It's not only this. You can use for your anything experiment that you want to take, want to use. Now, let's move to the next one, application. This one, talking about this, the application of chemistry. Chemistry is applied in our in everyday life, in the different activities and place of environment. The effect of chemistry is felt in different aspects of life, such as cooking, washing with soap and detergent, digestion of food, drugs. Other application of chemistry include the health care and transportation, food, housing and cloth. All dis one, what do you mean by all dis? In chemistry, some of the things you normally do at home, what are the things you normally do at home? You know by yourself. Now, example, you cook. When you are mixing all those gadget together, you are mixing like pepper, curry, you are actually mixing to get the soup done. Is you are conducting a what? Chemistry. You don't know that. That's you are doing it every day, but some of us don't know that we are chemistry. Soap you are using to bath. Now, where they are doing it, some of us, our mommy, they are normally doing it. The target, the same thing. Drugs. Now, when you are drinking drugs, I know you are not the one that's doing it. So some of them, the drugs that we normally take, our forefathers, they mix it together, and different leaves. But all this combustion is still the same thing chemistry. You are constructing chemistry. Now, that's what we are doing every day. The next one is healthcare. No, healthcare, transportation, food, housings and clothing. All this one is under chemistry. What do we mean by healthcare? Healthcare, they are doing what? Chemistry in that place. Transportation, now we are buying fuel up and down. Who produce it? Is chemistry. Now food, now we are using it in our farm to develop what? What are they using to construct food? They are using fertilizer to give to the farmer that the farmer that to develop their own. Now the next one is housing. The last one is what? Clothing. Now, what? Look at our clothes. We use chemical to construct all this one color and other thing like that. That's how the chemistry is. Let's all look at career in clothes. What do you mean by career in clothes? Talking about this. I'm talking about this. Career in chemistry. The career in chemistry is explaining about when you study chemistry, where can you work? You can work in pharmaceutical drug development because you have the knowledge. Experimentation. You can work in science education. A science education now, I'm a science. I'm teaching you that's another education. Chemical engineering. We're able to work in chemical engineering. Mining metallurgy, where the people that normally what collect gold from the ground, from the earth, you'll be able to work with them. Now, pure and applied chemistry. We do petroleum, where they are doing petroleum, we work in that place. Quality control, we able to work in that place. Medicine, surgery, where they are doing medicine. If you don't have the knowledge of chemistry, you cannot be able to work. But when you have the knowledge of chemistry, you're able to work in that place. Medicine and surgery. And last one is what? Chemical analysis. This area, they are the place that you are able to work when you work, you have the knowledge of chemistry. That's you cannot take all this one, say what one of them as a career. when you graduated, when you do course, you can be minimum. That's the end of class. Please make sure you watch this video. If you don't understand, text me. We're able to explain it more. And thank you very much. God bless you. And this is my phone number: 070 62 32 28 91. Let me say it again: 080 070 62 32 28 91. Let me say it again: 070 62 32 28 91. See you in the next class. God bless you.